Life is a beautiful palette of colors. My journey of discovery. It's a beautiful spring morning. The sun just woke up. The sky is blue. The birds are going mad. The trees are green now, and the first spring flowers are gone. The next set is blooming, and the next set ready to bloom any day now. I'm sitting in my open kitchen window, listening to the birds and enjoying my coffee, feeling extremely lonely and longing for life. To be two persons living together is no guarantee against loneliness. To prevent loneliness, one needs to connect on an emotional level. Not just any emotional level, but a deep personal level. It would be nice sharing it, but it is no guarantee. To share deep thoughts, to share the same love, to share life, to laugh together, to cry together, to comfort each other, to experience together, to listen, to be listened to share views, to share options, to expect everything, to expect nothing, to accept differences, to teach, to learn, to acknowledge, share dreams, to trust, to be trusted, to believe, to be believed, to never be lonely again. Yet it is important to be able to be alone with our own thoughts, to feel good being alone. To be able to feel good about that, we need to love ourselves. Love for who and what and where we are. Love for where we want to go in life. Without the love, we are doomed to fail. Like the captain of a ship who was guided by the smugglers' lanterns of old. Without a lighthouse, we are likely to flounder on the rocks. However, with the proper lighthouse, we can set the right course. Without it, it becomes difficult to avoid disaster. Unfortunately, life is not black or white. Life is a delicate balance of colors. If we are able to navigate through the colors and not being distracted by the black or white, we can harvest the full potential of what life has to offer. If we can't keep the course through the colors, we can easily stray into the black or white world. If we can't see the colors, we have to use our other senses. Like I did. I was one of the blind people. Although I was one of those blind people going in the wrong direction, I have now learned to use my other senses. From limited to unlimited. My life has more or less been black or white. I knew there were more colors and just had to find a way to get to them. That route took many tears. In fact, if tears was made of gold, I would have been extremely rich. Every time I opened my color book, the only thing I saw was that giant smuggler lantern, pointing in one direction and one direction only. It did not turn around to show me the variations of colors, and therefore it navigated me straight towards disaster. Its light was very sharp, and I was constantly blinded by it. It lasted until one colorful person told me how to smash the light bulb and the engine that run it, and change both into weaker ones. It turned out that this machine had a weak point, its chain. It lacked the link, and therefore it was too tight and could not change direction on its own. It needed someone to do it. That one was me. I was the only one that could do it. I was the only one that knew where that link was missing. So I did it. I went to the smuggler's lantern and kicked up the door. Told it I had to add a missing link to it. Told it that it had had its chance but blew it. Told it that it had guided me and mine in the wrong direction for long enough, and that I had to stop. Told it it would lose power, and what I did would enable me and mine to navigate and avoid disaster. I added that link, and today the smuggler's lantern hardly works. It blinks every now and then. It has lost its power, and it's not even able to see it itself. It is running with a rusty chain that lacks oil, and it's squealing and shrieking, but has no real power anymore. From there on, there has been no limitation for which direction I took, and I see all colors. I might be weak on some points, but am strong on so many others. C'est la vie, and I am no different than other people. The only difference between me and many others are that my road has been filled with not stones but rocks, and I had to break through them all before I could carry on. I see myself as a very strong person, and I don't mind bragging about it. After all, I managed to break a negative social inheritance for me and mine. I choose the colors and not to settle with what colors were on this artist's palette. I had a deep desire and navigated amongst the colors until I found a direction. It took me 2 failed marriages and a personal breakdown. I asked my children for forgiveness for my sins, and I got it. I told them how my life was placed on a cheeseboard made of glass. I was able to be seen and look out, but not to be heard. No matter which way I turned, there was no corners, and I was trapped in a world where no one could hear me. They understood and forgave me and said, "Listen, you are our mom and we love you. Of course we will forgive you." That day I cried like a child for a long time. You have no idea how revealing that was. The ability to forgive. I have been told so often that I have to forgive it for leading me in the wrong direction if I want to live in peace. I am able to forgive, but not this time. You see, this smuggler's lantern was unique and was capable of adding the missing link on its own if it only wanted. But it chose not to, and ignored that it damaged itself and the ones depending from the light it threw out. It completely ignored that it led 2 generations in the wrong direction. It had the same options as I had. It was so strong and yet so awfully weak. It was easy to break when first I got close enough. Just too bad it took so long. I have often thought of when it is dying, and if I get the last opportunity to forgive it, if I think I would do it. if I have a need for it. No, I don't, and yet I am still very angry at it, and I am afraid it will be yet another blame. There is only one way I will ever do it, and that is if it it asks me for forgiveness. I might forgive it. To be completely honest, I wish it would ask for forgiveness because I feel an urge deep inside to forgive, but only if it asks. I don't think it ever will. That will be to admit it has been wrong its whole life. I know the smuggler's lantern is very sensible too, just like me, but it needs to take the first move and realize its mistakes. Now I have a lighthouse. It shows me all the colors. There is no limitations whatsoever in my connection with this one. Glossary. Smuggler's lantern. A smuggler's lantern was meant to only be seen by the sailors it pointed at. Lighthouse. A lighthouse was meant to allow sailors orient themselves.